Turned out to be a pretty nice Sunday afternoon at the Old Palace. This Sunday edition of Belmont Insider getting underway from the starting gate. In the words of Cappy, it is now post time. We're glad you're with us here on MSG Plus. The Mig, Richard Migliore, Jason Blewitt alongside. Third floor TV set. And the good news, big step in the right direction regarding the weather, and it made for an even more pleasant day here at Belmont.
And the wind did a lot to dry out the track. We had pretty much almost a fast track by the last race. We've got that soft light going on we always like to talk about. You call it the Palace, the Taj Mahal. I called it the Cathedral the other night. Whatever you call it, Belmont Park is one of the greatest racetracks in the world.
It is hallowed ground. A privilege to be with all of you tonight on the show alongside the MIG, and we're coming off the biggest weekend of the fall meet at Belmont. Ran the 97 Jockey Club Gold Cup yesterday. We'll talk a bit more about Tonalist and how he bounced out of the race for Christophe Camont, but this was another huge day of racing in the Big Apple in which Chad Brown won some races and piled up some big pot purses, and here he is with the MIG talking about how some of his horses came out.
Chad, a couple of big weekends back-to-back. Stephanie's kitten, she was so good, really put herself in the game. You had to be very pleased with her.
I was relieved. She's been training really well, and she's starting to round back into form at the right time.
Was there any concern before the Beverly D that maybe as a 6-year-old mare, she maybe just wasn't as good as she used to be?
Yeah, there was. She certainly hadn't run to her workouts in the early part of the year. But we just stayed the course, and as long as she came out of our races sound, we were committed to running her all year. And our last 2 races have been very good.
And Danza Cavallo, she ran really terrific on the lead. It looked like she might take them all the way at one point.
Yeah, we threw in there at the last second, given the soft turf conditions. And that's a filly that she just hadn't had any luck this year. She's trained really well, and she's caught rock-hard turf courses in the middle of the summer. Her 2 starts for us on soft, both in Long Island here last year and at Keeneland in the spring, were terrific. And then since then, it's been hard turf and poor performances. She got her ground yesterday, and she ran well.
Will both of them go on to the Breeders' Cup now?
Stephanie's kitten will. Danza Cavallo would have to be supplemented, so we're going to have to talk about that. It's more likely she'll probably stay home here and maybe point towards the Long Island again and then give her a break.
Yeah, Takeover Target ran really big in the Hill Prince. What's the plans for him going forward?
We don't have any immediate plans yet. We're real happy with his season so far. He has a couple of huge wins, including yesterday. He's a very versatile horse. He's won on firm and won on very soft, so a lot of options for him moving forward.
And Big Blue Kitten was so good last weekend in the Turf Classic. Came out of the race well?
He did. What a consistent horse. You know, we've had him all along, and he's a very reliable horse, and he always fires for us, and hopefully he's got one more in him in the Breeders' Cup.
And what are your Breeders' Cup plans as far as the horses you'll be running there? When will you ship in? Will they have their last works here or there?
I really prefer to train here at home, my home base at Belmont. We've had luck doing that. So we're still building the list of who deserves a shot to go to the Breeders' Cup. We'll know more in the weeks to come. But my plan is to keep everybody here and just ship in the week of the race.
Chad, you've had an amazing year. Keep it up. Best of luck going to the Breeders' Cup.
Thank you.
Has been an amazing year, $14.6 million in the bank and climbing with each passing racing day and certainly passing a week. And you talk about the 1-2 finish with Big Blue Kitten on top in the Turf Classic, followed 7 days later up first Stephanie's Kitten, and that topped the Chad Brown Exact in the Flower Bowl.
Well, you know, we joke about it with Chad with turf horses, and obviously he's much more well-rounded than that, so we're not trying to label anybody here. But you win the Turf Classic, which is the best race of the fall on grass for the males, and then the Flower Bowl, the best race of the fall for females. And it's Chad's world, and we're all living in it.
And even Takeover Target, hard-trying, consistent 3-year-old turf horse. He's banked about $600,000 this year.
And not only is he a good horseman, a good trainer, he's also a good manager. He spots his horses where they can excel, and that's what a trainer's job is to do, put his horses in positions to succeed.
And although the bulk of, I'd say, his reel coming up was under the guidance of the late Hall of Fame trainer Bobby Frankel, Chad also worked for Hall of Fame trainer Shug McGahee. He's got some good guys to fall back on regarding an education. And speaking of Shug, let's find out how Honor Code came out of the Kelso.
Shug Honor Code yesterday in the Kelso probably didn't have a very good setup, wasn't a lot of pace, but were you happy with the effort to push him forward to the Breeders' Cup?
Well, you know, yes. I think he ran a decent race under the circumstances. The winner, you know, ran a great race. Like you said, he had an easy lead, no pace. I was hoping maybe Hutchins' horse would go with him and didn't. And, you know, I kind of forced Javier to lay a little closer than maybe we usually do. And but I do think, you know, I think he finished up strong. He seemed to come out of it good. I might have to do a little bit more work with him for 1.25 miles, but that's okay too.
Well, this was a prep, and you stated that going in. So as far as preps go, that you are satisfied.
I was satisfied as far as prep goes.
And now, as far as his training up to the Breeders' Cup, will he have his last work here in New York, or will you train him at Keeneland?
No, I plan on leaving him here the whole time. The one thing that would determine that, it would be the weather. If we look like we're going to get some bad weather in here or something, maybe I'd move him. But I'm planning on getting in there last minute.
Great. Thank you, Shug.
All right, Richie. Thanks.
All right, one of the best in the business, Shug McGahee, and much like Chad Brown and even the post-race quotes I saw from Christophe Coman, everybody, it seems, wants to go to Keeneland, at least the Belmont-based horses, at the last possible second.
Well, I think there's something to be said about being in your comfort zone. The horses are comfortable in their barns. The trainers are comfortable with the surfaces. They know Belmont intimately, so why change anything up? And we've seen horses have a lot of success shipping in on top of races. I mean, I think back to Funny Side. Barkley Tag got in there Wednesday before the Derby and trained at Belmont up to it. They certainly did well.
Won the 3 legs of the Triple Crown that year back in 03. And regarding Anaco quite quickly, Mig, he's got to stretch out a big test in front of him, assuming he makes the Breeders' Cup Classic at 1.25 miles. It will not be an easy race for him, as he likely makes the final start of his career.
No, it won't be an easy race. It's not going to be an easy race for anybody. It's going to be as tough a classic as we're probably going to see in a long time.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I actually like the fact that he ran the mile and kind of threw in a subpar performance. You don't want a horse in a prep race to run their very best and maybe regress off of it. You want them to go forward off it. If anybody can get him to move forward off of the Kelso, it's Shug McGahee.
And we had a good time talking about the Kelso and, of course, all the supporting Gold Cup day stakes on the National Racing Report, 6 p.m. Monday and Tuesday right here on MSG Plus. And Kendrick Carmouche, how about a quick update regarding Kendrick? Went down in a nasty spill yesterday aboard Shore Runner in that off-the-turf sprint, I think the Woodhaven or Woodlawn at Keeneland Racecourse. And we send him a get-well-soon message, and hopefully he'll be back with us in a few weeks.
Yeah, it was a very ugly spill, and, I know it sounds funny, but the fact that he walked away from it, or essentially came away from it with just a broken rib, a little bit of air in his lung, I mean, it's miraculous.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's blessed for that. Even though he was injured, it could have been far worse.
All right, let's move on to the action today. Another Sunday at Belmont. Again, quite windy out here, but it was great to have the sun in attendance. Maybe my favorite guest on the afternoon, a real stranger, it seems, over the last few cards. Regardless, plenty of sunshine to go around. A bright backstretch as we go up to Larry Comas for the call of Sunday's featured eighth.
Outside, True Romance along the rail, and between those two comes Paris Bikini. Right up there, too, Fairpoint and Predicate, and Close Fall Off's last of them all. Racing 4.5 lengths off the lead of True Romance and Paris Bikini, and these two go at it as they head toward the far turn. And right in behind them is Fairpoint running in third on the inside of Predicate and Equilateral. Close Fall Off trails with 4 lengths to make up, and the quarter was 23 seconds flat. Around the far turn, True Romance, Paris Bikini. Outside of them, Predicate, Equilateral 4 deep. Close Fall Off behind them running in fifth. And then it's Fairpoint on the inside. 2 lengths separates them all as they make their way toward the top of the stretch. And it is True Romance turning for home in front after a 46 2/2 mile. Alongside is Equilateral, who's coming into the stretch wide. Fairpoint comes up the rail. Predicate is there. Close Fall Off goes up on the far outside, and they're into the stretch. And it is True Romance in front. Equilateral, Close Fall Off on the outside, and Fairpoint coming through at the rail. Close Fall Off, Fairpoint on the inside, True Romance. Close Fall Off, and Fairpoint on the inside. These two coming down to the wire, and Close Fall Off streaks under the wire in front. Fairpoint was second, and then it was Equilateral and True Romance.
The good run of Kieran McLaughlin continued in today's featured eighth with Close Fall Off, worked out the right trip, angling to the outside off the turn beneath Joel Rosario.
Yeah, Kieran's horses have just all been running lights out. And for months now, it's been consistently winning at a very high percentage. This filly got the right trip. Joel Rosario riding in hot form. And when Joel's on, he's tough to beat. And this filly really was in the right place at the right time. Give a little credit, too, to Fairpoint. Had a rally up towards the inside, and I thought ran pretty game.
Very nice effort forward for Shug McGahee in her first start against winners. And how about some 2-year-old split maiden races for the fillies on this gorgeous Sunday at Belmont Park? We'll have both divisions after the break.
The new Parks Fall Festival will double purses for each of its 32 live racing days. What an opportunity for Pennsylvania breds. In an open maiden special, PA breds will run for over $100,000. So be there at Parks in the fall.
Hello, I'm Brian Sanfratello. Last year, we paid $33 million to PA breds in the form of breeder awards, owner bonuses, and restricted race purses. Our Equine Coalition Group is united in the pursuit of making sure that we receive every dollar we deserve. And that's why our Racehorse Development Fund has been constant in the past 4 years. Please go to our website at www.pabred.com or give me a call at 610-444-1050.
Back to Belmont Park, the mighty Secretariat, tall and proud in the paddock, one of the greatest places in all of New York sports. Gorgeous Sunsplash Sunday afternoon, and we'll set it up for a big week here at Belmont. Perfect forecast, back on the turf we hope this coming Wednesday, and never too early to start talking about that Empire Showcase Day. We do have plenty of room in the Garden Terrace, $35 a person, and that's always been a great day, a real fixture, I'd say, over the last 20 or so years, New York Bred Showcase Day in late October.
Yeah, a real fun day, and you get a lot of the breeders come out, from the very big breeders to the small breeders. It's New York's day to shine, or New York's product, and usually we had, like a farmer's market and people, so, it's all about New York that day.
The great state of New York. Let's move it ahead. Race number 4 on the card today, anyway, the first division of these 2-year-old filly maidens. They battled a mile, and Larry Colmas called all the action.
Fellini with a good start. All About My Girls on the outside, out of the gate well, and right behind them is Welcoming, and they're being followed by Hypernation. And off to slow beginnings were Zendrea and 5 on a Dime as the field heads up the back stretch. All About My Girls in front. Fellini is a length back, running in second by 2.5. Welcoming is third. Hypernation follows in fourth, 7 lengths off the lead here, and then 5 on a Dime, who's got 10 lengths to make up. And last of them all is Zendrea, who's a good 14 off the lead. 23 flat was the first quarter. Heading up the backstretch, in pursuit of All About My Girls, who goes at it with Fellini, moving right along for the far turn. Welcoming tracks them intently in third, 2.5 lengths off the lead, looking good right now. It's another 6 lengths more, back to Hypernation and 5 on a Dime, who are right together, and nothing yet from Zendrea. The half was 46-1. Around the far turn, All About My Girls and Fellini, and Welcoming is now just a length and a half behind. 5 on a Dime and Hypernation are closer too, and it's a good 10 lengths back to Zendrea as they arrive at the top of the stretch. Fellini, All About My Girls, joined by Welcoming on the outside, and Welcoming and Fellini are now 1-2 at the top of the stretch. All About My Girls is given away. 5 on a Dime on the inside is next, and Hypernation down to the 8th pole, and Welcoming is pulling away from Fellini. Welcoming by 2. Fellini is clearly in second. 5 on a Dime is third. And on the far outside, it's Hypernation in fourth. Welcoming and Joel Rosario coming under the wire, a 5-length winner over Fellini. And then it was 5 on a Dime and Hypernation.
Good-looking gray filly by Tappet. Robert S. Evans, we just saw his silks in the mud about 24 hours ago with Tonalist in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and he's got a filly who's going to take some attention going forward, and rightfully so, and Welcoming.
She was very good. Just looked a winner every step of the way. Joel Rosario getting aboard. Well, he had great success with Christophe Comant and Robert Evans on Tonalist last year. Well, now he's got a good-looking 2-year-old for him this year.
150 winners for Tonalist. That's all inclusive, multiple winners as well.
Tappet.
But he's won for Tappet, rather.
Yeah.
Yes, what'd I say? For Tonalist?
Yeah.
Tonalist may have that down
week.
the road. He's got Tappet, he's got Pleasant Colony as pedigree, and he'll be, I think, a Hickory kind of stallion down the road. But Tappet, thank you very much, doing quite well in 2015, along with Christophe Comant. There were a couple of Tappet fillies, a half to Bernardini, and a near $2 million auction buy who battled heads apart in race number 6 as we check out division number 2 of these 2-year-old filly maidens.
They're off. Inheritance had a very good start. So too did Optimistic Outcome and Benepista. These three out for the early lead together, and right behind them is Tessio, who came out running in fourth and now moves up from the inside. After that, it's Daiquiri last, Corella second last early on. The trailer is Go and Wonder. Up the backstretch, and the favorites in front. Inheritance is the leader over Benepista, who's a length back running in second. Tessio is third to the inside, and the first quarter was 23-2. And they're being followed in fourth position by Optimistic Outcome, Corella to the outside. Daiquiri last getting shuffled back a bit, second last now, just ahead of Go and Wonder, who's at the rear of the field as they make their way for the far turn. Inheritance in front. Inheritance heads into the turn with the lead by a length and a half now over Tessio, as Benepista has lost ground to them after a 47.5 mile. Benepista is now about 5 lengths off the lead and passed by Optimistic Outcome on the outside. Then it's Go and Wonder, Daiquiri last, and Corella. Around the turn they go. Inheritance on top, a length and a half to Tessio. And they're still well clear of the others. Optimistic Outcome is third, under a ride and some 7 lengths off the lead as they come toward the top of the stretch. Inheritance looking really good from here. Inheritance pulling away now to a 6-length lead. Eric Consell takes a look back, and the opposition is getting farther and farther away. Tessio is second, and it's a long way back to Corella, who's taken third. Well, Inheritance was looking good here. Inheritance coming under the wire, and she's going to win by more than 10, maybe a dozen lengths in the end. It was Tessio second, and then came Corella and Benepista.
2-year-old filly sweep for Taffet today. He's the sire of Inheritance, another good-looking gray who was 2/100ths of a second slower than Welcoming in the first division at a mile. 36.77, and the official margin, Big, 16 lengths.
And the runner-up was Tessio. Could be Clemenza be far behind. But this filly looked awfully good. And what is this, Groundhog Day? One gray Taffet filly after another rolling through the stretch completely alone. 2 good-looking fillies. Maybe the 2 best-looking fillies we've seen in New York so far.
Maybe the Breeders' Cup juvenile fillies a little too much with their lack of experience, per se, and the presence of Songbird, but you've got races like the Tempted and Demoiselle on this circuit a bit later in the year.
It's Demoiselle, not Demoiselle?
It's the Demoiselle, dude. All right? Come on. Let's move on to the action here. Stop kidding around. We've got everything else that happened on day number 17, moving right along at Belmont Park, 1 through 9, with Larry C.
Now has taken the lead, and on the outside it's Pretty Smart. And Mia and Molly, who has now moved up into second position. Mia and Molly is just to the outside of Northern Screamer. Northern Screamer opens up to lead by 2. Mia and Molly is second, and it's a long way back to Smoke and Stroll and Hashtag Bonnie as Northern Screamer goes away to win here by about 3.5 in the end over Mia and Molly, and then it was Smoke and Stroll and Hashtag Bonnie. Run for Family of Roses, and they're coming to the top of the stretch. Still Awesome, Quick, and Perfect Fit, 1-2. But on the outside, there goes Rachel's Temper. Grandpa's Princess got caught in traffic there, and here comes Family of Roses splitting horses too. Into the final 16th, Awesome, Quick, Rachel's Temper, Family of Roses between those two, squeezing on through. It is Rachel's Temper, Family of Roses, Awesome, Quick on the inside. Rachel's Temper getting away late. Rachel's Temper to win it. And then it was Family of Roses, followed by Awesome, Quick, and Grandpa's for the stretch. And now, here's Lost Raven on the outside to the front. Lost Raven has run up to take the lead, and Entry Mate Voided Contract is closing in on the outside. Steve's filly is given away. Kalabaka takes third near the rail. In the final furlong, it is Lost Raven in front by 2.5. Voided Contract and Kalabaka. Kalabaka now second as they come down to the line. Lost Raven pulls away by 5. Kalabaka was second, and then came Voided Contract. Unique Style and Vera's finally. Win at 1:12-3, and they're coming to the top of the stretch. Kathy's Humor sent now. Off the rail and after front-running Building Permit, and Kathy's Humor's gone on by. Joe Bravo and Kathy's Humor in front with a furlong to go. Pulling away from Building Permit and the others. Sarah Tiago is third. They're coming down to the line, and it is Kathy's Humor. Kathy's Humor, a strong winner here over Building Permit. And then it was Sarah Tiago and Brandini. They're coming to the quarter pole. Thunderbird Wings is down at the rail. Indiana Stones on the outside, and Datafoss to the outside of them. Pegasus Red swings out 4 deep as they come to the final furlong and starts to charge up toward the front runners. Here's Pegasus Red, full of run outside of Dedifos. Pegasus Red takes the lead. Dedifos is second, and then it's Indiana Stones, and on the outside it's Ogermeister. It is Pegasus Red. Pegasus Red over Dedifos. Then Indiana Stones and Ogermeister. Off the turn, Techie Yellows alongside. Outside of them, Midnight Bounty trying to come and get them. And from the back of the pack, More Than Rainbows, rather more Stormy Weather is trying to gain some ground. It's More Than Rainbows on the inside. On the outside is Techie Yellow. Midnight Bounty is next, and then comes More Stormy Weather. Midnight, More Than Rainbows on the inside. On the outside, Midnight Bounty. These two down to the line. It's More Than Rainbows. And Joel Rosario wins another.
Kind of ironic, Joel Rosario was looking for a 4-bagger today, had won 3. We're coming up to the last race. I took a look at the Will Pays, the multi-race Will Pays. Everybody in the last covered except for Joel's horse, and just like that, he brings home a big long shot winner for Gary Contessa, pays $32 for his 4th on the day, and just like that, we got 34 G's in the kitty for Wednesday's Pick 6 carryover.
Always nice to have a carryover and a couple of days to do your homework about it, and how about getting that price on the Joel Rosario horse?
Yeah, Joel's day actually began back in race number 2 as we take out the binocs with the Cappy in our second look, and he had to sweat this one out. The call eventually not guilty. A couple of claims of foul against Rachel's Temper, the second race winner here.
Well, I thought he had bothered the 7 Grandpa's Princess off the turn, and then in the stretch, you're going to see he's going to drift over and eventually bother the runner-up.
Great filly, Family of Roses.
Excuse me. And I think the stewards made the right call because she was beaten at that point, Family of Roses, and you're going to see she's going to have to steady here. Gets put in awfully tight, and believe me, as much as it looks like she has a little bit of space there, when you're out there, there's basically no room left there, and he had to steady. Now, if she gets beat for second, Family of Roses, and runs third, now there's likely a disqualification because you can make the case it costs her a placing. But the fact that she ran second, you have to say, well, the best horse beat her, even though she put her in tight, and it didn't change the outcome.
All right, Dave Canizzo continues his good run at the meet. His horses have been doing very well. Very dangerous, it seems, in the early double. Races 1 and 2 is when Canizzo really shines, and just one claim on the card, Midnight Bounty, claimed by Carol Fisher, a former assistant to Tony Dutrow, out of the last for $25,000. The weak stars on a sloppy Jockey Club Gold Cup day when we come back. The young Jose Ortiz, pretty solid yesterday with takeover target. Very nice ride in the Hill Prince. Got his position going forward in that steady advance and march down the backside. And the same could be said for John Velasquez, who had Tonalist up on the engine, and here he goes roaring home in the 2-path in Saturday's Gold Cup.
But close enough without using him, always in control, in the pocket, ready to just explode when he got room. And I like the fact that he won with something left. There was a little more in the tank, and that's what you want out of these races. You want to win them, but you want to be able to go forward off of them.
In about a century of history, Tonalist just the 10th horse to win the Gold Cup in back-to-back years. Here's the start of the Champagne. Number 2, Greenpoint Crusader, off in a real tangle, a real mess, but Joe Bravo kept his cool, and Greenpoint Crusader was very good after that.
Yeah, Joe gave him a terrific ride, kept his cool, but you gave this horse a lot of credit for his athletic prowess, Jason, to be able to get back up underneath him, get in the race the right way, and then finish the deal. This is a very good colt that's been crying out to go further. Great job, and I mean great job by Dominic Schettino, and I'm very happy for the connections. They put a lot into the game, and it was fun to see them enjoying the moment yesterday.
And Dominic Schettino, native of the Bronx, 49 years old, his first career Grade 1 winner. Good job with Greenpoint Crusader. Stephanie's Kitten has enjoyed a renaissance. I thought her career entering Saratoga was basically over, but she has responded with 2 huge efforts in her last couple.
Yeah, and you know what? They gave her every opportunity to find her form, and she may be a filly that gets better as the weather starts cooling off towards the end of the year or towards the middle of the year. I mean, last year we saw that kind of same thing where she got better as the year went on. And you know what? As you get older, I know it's true for me, it takes a little while to shake the ring rust off.
And much like Tonalist, just the second horse to win back-to-back Flower Bowls, that is, joining Risk-Averse from about a decade ago. How about the hot jockey here with another week down at Belmont Park? We give it to Irad Irad Ortiz. We opened the segment with his younger brother, Jose, and Irad continues to put up big numbers with his agent, Steve Rushing.
The riding Ortizes, and you know, luckily for us, we're going to see them around for a long time. They stay healthy, God willing. They've got a lot of worlds to conquer.
And Joel Rosario, in the meantime, 4 wins on this Sunday afternoon. Quite a few guys, at least towards the top of that list, spent the day riding at Keeneland. They ran the Juddmonte Spinster. And let's move on to the trainer standings. After we get Chad Brown out of the way, we say that with a great amount of respect for a trainer who continues to smash and transcend all different boundaries. 31 turf stakes in 2015, 9 grade 1s.
That's a remarkable career, let alone a year. I mean, Chad Brown is just everything firing on all cylinders, and he does a tremendous job, not just conditioning his horses, but spotting them where they'll excel.
And he's looking to win 3 consecutive Belmont Fall training titles. He leads all trainers, including Todd Pletcher, with 13 victories. And we're dark the next couple of days as we point to that 12:50 post time, 12:55. And here's Andy with who to look for, along with Maggie.
Looking forward to being back on the turf as we head into Wednesday's program and throughout, hopefully, this week at Belmont Park. The 4th race, it's a maiden claiming race on the turf, and I like a horse, the 8, Written in Stars. Thought Written in Stars ran pretty well, too, back at Saratoga. When she had a bit of trouble in that race, she was coming off a layoff, actually almost a year, 11 months into there, and it was a decent enough performance in a pretty good field. Last time she ran, she stumbled so badly at the start, it's almost a miracle the rider was able to stay on. So it's a complete throw-out her last race. So maybe she's a little bit dirtied up. Written in Stars might have found the right field in the 4th race. She's got to beat Locks. I like to eat Locks. I'll use her in the Exacta. But I like Written in Stars in the 4th race.
Well, my old friend's back. That's the sun. I'm very pleased about that. So I feel pretty comfortable in taking a turf race here, guys, for your Paddock Insider for Wednesday. We're going to take a look at race number 7. It's allowance for the fillies and mares, and we're going the 1 mile and 1/4 distance. Number 2 in here, Aknaha, for George Weaver, is one, though, despite not having good efforts going this kind of distance in Europe, it's a whole different ball game when you're dealing with a firmer course and around these ovals here. She's a big, good-looking filly, and for me, against the rest of her competition in here, she kind of stands hands and feet above the rest. So that's why I'm trying Aknaha, as she looks to improve off of a good effort last time out at Saratoga. She's your Paddock Insider. Guys, back to you.
Study up 34,000 plus the pick 6 carryover. First race post 12:55. PPs are out. National Racing Report 6 p.m. Monday and Tuesday for the Mig and I. Have a great night.